It all started on a quiet Saturday morning, the kind where sunlight spills lazily through the curtains and the world feels soft and forgiving. I was sitting on my bed, scrolling through my phone, trying to ignore the nagging sense that life had become far too predictable. My name is Alex, I'm 23, and I work as a junior graphic designer in a small but busy agency downtown. My life was ordinary, or at least what the world saw of it was. By day, I wore neutral clothes, played the part of a normal young adult, and handled client presentations with careful professionalism. But at night, behind closed doors, I explored a side of myself I rarely let anyone see. I loved experimenting with makeup, trying on different outfits, and discovering the way clothes could shift not just appearances, but feelings too. There was something intoxicating about slipping into a dress, feeling the smooth fabric against my skin, and seeing a version of myself that the outside world never knew existed. It wasn't shameful, or at least not entirely. It was a secret thrill, a mix of fear and excitement. I called it my private theater, a small space where I could escape judgment, explore beauty, and let myself exist as more than just Alex the designer. Yet I had learned to keep it hidden. My friends, my colleagues, even Alexa, my girlfriend of 2 years, had no idea. Alexa was brilliant and independent, with fiery red hair and a laugh that could light up a room. We shared everything, from terrible puns to late-night confessions, but this part of me remained tucked away, like a delicate, fragile gem I wasn't ready to reveal. Alexa had a habit of working long hours at her marketing firm, which gave me pockets of time to indulge in my secret life. I often waited until she was out or distracted, then carefully laid out my favorite outfits. Sometimes it was playful, a silk blouse paired with a skirt, or a bold lipstick that made me feel almost unrecognizable. Other times, it was transformative, a full persona shift that left me standing in front of the mirror, mesmerized by someone I could be, but only in these stolen hours. The house we shared with my sister, Lena, made this double life both easy and precarious. Lena had always been the experimental type, a year younger than me, with wild ideas and an insatiable curiosity. She loved concocting potions, dyes, and mysterious beauty elixirs in her small corner of the kitchen. I admired her creativity, but sometimes it worried me. Her experiments were unpredictable, and I had learned to tread lightly when it came to her magical little obsessions. That morning, Lena was bustling around the kitchen, humming an eerie tune as she prepared what she called a confidence potion. I wasn't supposed to see it, but of course, my curiosity got the better of me. It glimmered in a small glass vial, swirling with colors that shifted in the light like liquid opals. Lena caught my gaze and smiled, that secretive smile of hers that promised trouble. "You've been hiding something," she said casually, leaning against the counter. "Why not try a little potion? Could make life more interesting." I laughed nervously, waving her off. "It's just makeup and clothes, Lena. No potion needed." She shrugged. "Suit yourself. But don't say I didn't warn you." I didn't think much of it at the time. A harmless eccentricity, a bit of drama to spice up a quiet morning. But deep down, I felt a shiver of apprehension. Lena had a way of making ordinary moments feel charged, like the calm before a storm. After she left the kitchen, I went about my usual routine, preparing for a weekend of relaxation, and maybe, if the urge struck, a bit of private transformation. I lined up my outfits. A soft, flowing dress I had recently bought online, a pair of heels that made my legs look impossibly long, and my favorite wig, with curls that cascaded like molten chocolate. I set everything carefully on the bed, feeling a thrill that was always tempered with a tiny pang of guilt. As I dressed, I reflected on why I did this. Was it vanity? Curiosity? A deeper need to explore parts of myself that society told me to hide? Perhaps all of it. But there was a strange power in these moments, a feeling that I could slip out of the ordinary and into something entirely my own. With each layer of clothing, each brushstroke of makeup, I felt closer to the person I longed to be, someone unrestrained, someone alive in ways that the world rarely allowed. By the time I stood in front of the mirror, fully transformed, I barely recognized myself. The person staring back had Alex's eyes, yes, but the rest, soft cheekbones, delicate curves, a shimmer in the gaze, belonged to someone else entirely. The thrill was immediate, electrifying. My hands trembled slightly as I adjusted the wig, feeling both exhilarated and vulnerable. What if Alexa walked in unexpectedly? What if Lena, ever unpredictable, decided to test her potion on me without warning? I shook my head, trying to dismiss the anxiety, but it lingered. Even in these private moments, there was a constant awareness of danger, of being seen, of having this secret life exposed. Yet it was a risk I was willing to take because the reward was more than visual. It was liberation, a taste of freedom that nothing else could provide. Just as I was finishing the last touches, Lena appeared in the doorway, her eyes gleaming. "I thought you might like to try a little something extra," she said, holding out the vial of swirling liquid. "Just one sip. For fun. For transformation." I hesitated. A small part of me screamed to refuse, to stick to my usual routine, and avoid the unknown. But another part, greedy, curious, reckless, reached for the vial. The potion shimmered as it touched my lips, warm and strange, with a taste that was hard to describe. Sweet, tangy, and utterly unfamiliar. Immediately, I felt a tingling sensation, like electricity coursing through every nerve. My reflection in the mirror seemed to blur, then sharpen, then change entirely. My hair felt lighter, my features softer, my body shifting in ways I hadn't imagined. I stumbled back slightly, gripping the edge of the dresser for support. Lena's smile widened. "You're going to be amazing," she whispered. "Just like me." And just like that, the first thread of suspense took hold. I had no idea what was coming, no clue that my life and my very identity was about to change forever. In that quiet morning, with sunlight streaming and a secret shimmer in my veins, I felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. I was Alex, yes, but already, in ways I could barely comprehend, I was becoming someone else too, someone more like Lena, someone beautiful, someone trapped in a transformation that promised both thrill and peril. I didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning. The potion, the secret, the transformation, they were threads weaving a story I could never unsee. And when Alexa came home, when the world demanded explanations, I would have to face a reality far stranger and more suspenseful than anything I had ever imagined. The moment the potion touched my lips, the tingling sensation didn't stop. It spread, crawling beneath my skin like liquid fire. I stumbled back, gripping the dresser for balance, my heart hammering in a rhythm that felt both thrilling and terrifying. The mirror's reflection shifted, the contours of my face softening, my eyes seeming larger, more expressive. It wasn't just cosmetic, it was as if the potion was rewriting me from the inside out, reshaping my very identity. Lena watched with a mix of fascination and mischief. "It's okay, Alex," she said softly. "Just let it happen." I wanted to resist, to pull back, but something inside me, a deep, unspoken desire, urged me forward. The tingling became heat, then a strange weightlessness, and I felt my body curve and bend in ways that were impossible just minutes before. My legs elongated, my waist narrowed, and my shoulders softened. My hands grazed my hips, almost in disbelief. This was no ordinary cross-dressing session. This was metamorphosis. I stumbled to the mirror again, my reflection almost unrecognizable. The face staring back at me was softer, more delicate, with features that were eerily similar to Lena's own. My hair had shifted too, flowing in dark, lustrous curls that framed my new face. The realization struck me suddenly. I wasn't just cross-dressing anymore. I was becoming her, or at least her twin. "Are you okay?" Lena's voice sounded distant, almost dreamlike. I nodded, though my mouth felt strange. Words didn't come easily. The sensation of transformation was overwhelming. My clothes, the outfit I had meticulously chosen, seemed to mold perfectly to my new form, as if the potion itself had anticipated every detail. I moved slowly, testing my balance in the heels I had set out. Each step was both thrilling and frightening. I was lighter, more agile, yet vulnerable in ways I hadn't imagined. The sensation of the dress against my skin was amplified, every brush of fabric sending shivers up my spine. The makeup I had applied, my own careful work, felt integrated into my very being. It was no longer a mask, it was part of me. And yet, with every passing second, panic simmered beneath the excitement. What if Alexa came home early? What if my parents noticed? The house felt suddenly too small, every corner a potential exposure. My secret life, the one I had carefully curated, was now in jeopardy, but it was impossible to resist the allure of this new self. Lena stepped closer, a sly grin on her face. "You're beautiful, Alex," she whispered. "But this is just the beginning." I swallowed hard, my voice catching. What do you mean?" "You're going to be me," she said simply. "Or, at least, like me. Forever." The words hit me harder than I expected. My heart raced, and a cold knot of fear twisted in my stomach. Forever? This wasn't just a playful experiment, it was a permanent change, a crossing of lines I had never imagined. I opened my mouth to protest, but the potion had made my thoughts foggy, emotions raw and magnified. Every feeling, fear, excitement, desire, was intensified. I stumbled to my bedroom, needing to be alone, needing to process what was happening. The room felt strange, familiar yet foreign, as if I were seeing it through entirely new eyes. I looked at the clothes on my bed, the heels, the wig, and the accessories, and realized they weren't just tools anymore. They were extensions of this new self. I tried to focus on my breathing, to calm the panic, but the thrill of transformation kept me on edge. The potion didn't just change appearances, it amplified emotions, desires, and vulnerabilities. I felt exposed in a way I had never experienced. The thrill of crossdressing, once private, controlled, was now inescapable, unstoppable. As the day passed, I experimented cautiously. I tried different outfits, walked around the house, and explored this new body. Each movement was a revelation. High heels felt more natural than ever. Skirts swirled around my legs with an elegance I had never imagined. My reflection became a mirror of Lena, yet still undeniably me. It was intoxicating and terrifying. But the deeper I explored, the more tension built. The house was silent except for the occasional sound of Lena in the kitchen or the faint hum of traffic outside. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant knock at the door sent jolts of anxiety through me. I was alone, or so I thought, and yet the fear of being caught was constant. Memories of Alexa flickered through my mind. Her smile, the warmth of her hand in mine, the way she laughed at my silly jokes. It was everything I feared losing if she ever discovered this transformation. The potion had created something irreversible, and I realized with a sinking feeling that my secret life, the one I had hidden so carefully, was now impossible to contain. Hours passed, and the transformations settled into me. My body, my mind, my reflection, they were all entwined in this new identity. I experimented with my voice, softening it, letting it take on lilting, melodic tones. I practiced gestures, expressions, and posture. By the time evening approached, I was nearly unrecognizable to anyone who knew Alex. Yet, the suspense remained. The thrill of being caught, the tension of secrecy, it was unbearable. I peeked through the window, half expecting to see Alexa or a neighbor. Every sound, every shadow became a potential threat. The ordinary, mundane house now felt like a stage for danger and discovery. And then Lena appeared again, her presence commanding and mischievous. "Do you feel it?" she asked. "The connection?" I nodded. The words were hard to find. The potion had bound me in ways I hadn't anticipated. I felt my identity fracturing, merging with hers, the line between Alex and Lena blurring with every heartbeat. The sense of self I had clung to was slipping, replaced with a thrilling, terrifying duality. "You're mine now," Lena whispered, her hand brushing against mine. "Or, at least, part of me. And the world will see it too eventually." The thought was overwhelming. I realized that this was more than crossdressing, more than exploration. It was a permanent transformation, a binding of identities, a merging of lives. My reflection in the mirror was no longer just Alex, but a hybrid, a twin of Lena in ways I couldn't yet fully comprehend. Panic surged again, sharp and urgent. What about Alexa? What about my life as I knew it? Could I ever return? The potion offered no answers, only an unrelenting pull toward a future I hadn't chosen but was now part of. By nightfall, the suspense had reached a fever pitch. I was moving through the house carefully, testing my new form, feeling both empowered and fragile. Every glance at my reflection, every touch of fabric against skin, reminded me of the thrill and the danger of this transformation. And then, just as I began to believe I was alone, I heard a sound, a faint creak from the front door. My heart stopped. Someone was coming. Alexa? A neighbor? My pulse raced, adrenaline flooding every vein. My hands trembled as I adjusted my hair and smoothed my dress. I wasn't just hiding a secret anymore. I was preparing to face discovery, confrontation, and the ultimate test of identity. The stage was set. The transformation had taken hold. The internal struggle was unbearable, and suspense hung thick in the air. Every step I took was a dance on the edge of revelation. And I knew, deep down, that nothing would ever be the same again. The house was unnervingly quiet, but the silence was heavy, thick with anticipation. I had spent hours practicing every movement, every gesture, and yet the world outside my bedroom door felt unpredictable, dangerous. The potion had fully taken hold. I no longer felt entirely like Alex, nor fully like Lena. I was caught between two identities, suspended in a state that was intoxicating and terrifying in equal measure. The first test came sooner than I expected. A knock at the door, light but deliberate. My heart thumped in my chest, a rapid drumbeat that mirrored the panic in my mind. Alexa? Had she returned early from work? I froze, unsure whether to run, hide, or greet her as the hybrid self I had become. Alex? Are you in there? Her voice rang through the hallway, warm and unsuspecting. My pulse spiked. I had rehearsed this moment in my mind countless times, but nothing could prepare me for the reality of it. I considered lying, pretending I was just me, normal, untransformed. But my reflection in the mirror, a delicate, perfect twin of Lena, mocked me. There was no going back now. With trembling hands, I opened the door a crack. Alexa's eyes widened. There was no anger, no shock at first, just confusion, curiosity, and something else, something I couldn't immediately identify. Alex, what happened? She asked, stepping closer. I swallowed hard, trying to find my voice, but it came out soft, melodic, altered in ways I hadn't fully anticipated. It's complicated, I whispered, voice trembling. It's me, but not exactly me. Alexa's gaze swept over my transformed appearance, the flowing dress, the curls cascading perfectly over my shoulders, the delicate hands, and the face that was mine, yet mirrored Lena's. She blinked, caught between disbelief and fascination. What did Lena do? Her words were cautious, probing, but I knew that beneath her concern, she was intrigued. The very idea of me transformed in such a permanent, dramatic way was almost too surreal to process. Before I could respond, the doorbell rang. My stomach dropped. Lena had been experimenting all day, and it seemed fate, or perhaps her chaos, had timed this perfectly. I could hear her humming somewhere in the kitchen, oblivious to the tension escalating in the hallway. Alexa's expression shifted from curiosity to urgency. Alex, I think we need to talk. Now. I nodded, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on me. The duality of my existence, the Alex who existed by day, the Lena-like twin the potion had created, was no longer something I could compartmentalize. It was alive, visible, and threatening to unravel everything I had known. We moved to the living room. Every step in my heels was an exercise in tension. The sound of the furniture creaking beneath me, the shifting of my dress, The subtle swish of my wig, all of it amplified the suspense, as if the house itself were holding its breath. Alexa's gaze was unwavering. "You have to tell me everything," she said, voice steady but edged with fear. "What's going on?" I took a deep breath, trying to explain the unexplainable. Lena's potion. The transformation. The merging of identities. How it had taken control, altering not just my body, but the essence of who I was. Each word I spoke made the scenario feel more real, more terrifying. Alexa listened silently, her expression flickering between disbelief and empathy. Suddenly, Lena appeared in the doorway, holding another vial. Her eyes glimmered with triumph, mischief, and something darker. "I see the potion worked perfectly," she said softly, almost reverently. "You're beautiful, but you're not finished yet." Panic surged through me. "Lena, stop. Don't." I began, but she didn't wait. With a graceful, deliberate motion, she poured a few drops onto my wrist. The tingling returned, sharp and overwhelming. My body convulsed slightly, muscles tightening, features morphing further. The reflection in the nearby mirror blurred and sharpened, revealing not just a twin of Lena, but a perfected hybrid, me, yet entirely her. Alexa gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. "Alex, no," she cried, reaching out, but it was too late. The potion had already bound me. The world tilted. My mind raced between fear, disbelief, and a strange exhilaration. I touched my face, my hair, my body. Everything was alien, yet familiar. The transformation wasn't just physical anymore. It was emotional, psychological. I could feel Lena's essence intertwined with mine, her confidence, her mischief, her dominance over this new form. "You're mine now," Lena whispered, stepping closer, "and everyone else will see it too. Forever." Alexa stepped back, shocked, but then determination sparked in her eyes. "We'll figure this out, Alex. Together. But first you need to breathe, to think. Don't let her control you entirely." I tried, but it was impossible. The potion had altered me completely, amplifying emotions, making every heartbeat feel like it carried both thrill and terror. I felt my body sway instinctively, my gestures unconsciously mirroring Lena's style, her poise. Every part of me screamed in duality. Alex trapped in Lena's perfected form, caught between identity and transformation. Then came the next shock. My phone buzzed, an incoming call from my boss at work. My heart sank. How could I answer now? The transformation had made me unrecognizable. Every text, every voice message, every digital communication could expose me. And yet, ignoring it wasn't an option. Alexa grabbed the phone, her hands steady despite the tension. "Let me," she said, her voice firm. She spoke, explained, and somehow navigated the conversation without revealing my secret, but the pressure was immense. I watched in awe and fear. She was the calm in my storm, the anchor I desperately needed. As the evening progressed, the tension escalated further. Lena flitted around the living room, offering suggestions for further enhancements, each one more daring than the last. She suggested new hairstyles, accessories, even voice modulation exercises. I resisted, terrified that any further action could make this permanent in ways I couldn't control. But then Lena smiled, that familiar, dangerous smile. "You like this, don't you?" she whispered. Her hand brushed against mine. The potion pulsed through me, and I realized with a jolt that yes, I did. The fear, the panic, the thrill, the danger, it was all part of the intoxicating experience. And just when I thought the suspense couldn't rise higher, a knock came from the front door. My pulse spiked again. This time, it was unmistakable, a visitor I didn't expect. I froze, unsure whether to hide, confront, or flee. Lena's grin widened. "Time to see how the world reacts," she said. I moved cautiously toward the door, Alexa by my side. The visitor stepped in, a friend of Lena's, someone familiar with her experiments, but not with me. Their eyes widened in shock as they saw my transformed self. I felt exposed, vulnerable, caught between identities, and utterly at the mercy of everyone in the room. Words faltered. Questions erupted. The suspense reached a peak. Could I survive this exposure? Could Alexa protect me? Could I even recognize myself in this new form anymore? Everything hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of revelation. And then, just as the tension reached unbearable levels, Lena whispered softly, "This is only the beginning. Soon, no one will see Alex, only me." The room was charged with tension, every second stretched like elastic. I stood frozen, transformed completely, my reflection in the mirror a perfect hybrid of myself and Lena. Alexa was beside me, her hand brushing against mine, steady and reassuring, but even her presence couldn't erase the fear coursing through me. Lena hovered, a triumphant smile playing on her lips, her potion shimmering in her hand like a promise and a threat. The unexpected visitor from earlier had left, but the sense of suspense remained. I was caught between identities, between fear and fascination, unable to decide whether I wanted to resist or surrender to the transformation entirely. My mind raced, trying to predict the consequences, to imagine a world where I could exist as Alex and Lena simultaneously. But every scenario felt impossible, tangled in the irreversible threads of the potion. Alexa's eyes met mine. "We'll figure this out," she whispered, but her tone held uncertainty too. I wanted to believe her, to feel safe in her words, but the reality was inescapable. Lena's influence, the potion, and my own curiosity had pushed me past the point of return. I wasn't just Alex anymore. I was something else, something new, and I didn't know if I would ever go back. I glanced at the mirror again. My reflection seemed almost alive, my own eyes staring back, but with a spark that wasn't mine alone. It was Lena, it was me, it was something in between. The thrill of crossdressing, the joy of transformation, the intoxicating feeling of power and beauty, all of it surged through me. And yet, beneath it, a deep, gnawing fear persisted. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway. My heart leapt into my throat. Someone was coming. Alexa's colleague? A neighbor? Or, worse, my parents? Each second stretched unbearably as the footsteps grew louder, more deliberate. Lena's smile widened, almost as if she had orchestrated this moment deliberately, knowing the suspense would be perfect. I moved instinctively, trying to compose myself, smoothing my dress, adjusting my wig, praying the person at the door wouldn't realize the full extent of my transformation. My body felt like it was betraying me, swaying too elegantly, too confidently, reflecting Lena's poise more than Alex's awkwardness. I was a stranger in my own skin, and the uncertainty of discovery made every heartbeat thunder in my ears. Alexa whispered urgently, "Hide. Quick." I hesitated. Part of me wanted to hide, to retreat into my old identity, to reclaim Alex. But another part, a bold, reckless part fueled by the potion, wanted to stay, to face whatever was coming. I was trapped between fear and exhilaration, and the line between resistance and surrender blurred completely. The doorknob turned. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. The door creaked open, and the hallway light spilled into the living room. For a heartbeat, everything was still. Then, a familiar voice called out, "Alex?" My stomach dropped. It was Lena's friend, the one who had seen me earlier. But something in their tone had changed. There was curiosity, shock, and recognition. My heart raced. Had they noticed the full effect of the potion? Had they realized that I wasn't just crossdressing anymore, that I had become something irreversible? I took a step forward, but my foot caught on the edge of the rug. My heels clicked sharply against the floor. The sound echoed through the quiet room like a gunshot. Lena's eyes sparkled with mischief. Alexa's hand gripped mine tighter. The visitor stepped closer, eyes widening in disbelief. I don't understand," they stammered. You look exactly like her." The room seemed to shrink around me. Every detail, the way my dress swayed, the curls framing my face, the delicate tilt of my head, was magnified, reflected in my own panicked gaze. My secret, my transformation, the very essence of what I had become, was exposed to someone else for the first time. I swallowed hard, trying to speak, but my voice, soft, melodic, unrecognizable, caught in my throat. Lena's grin was almost predatory now, as if she thrived on the suspense, on the unfolding drama that she had orchestrated. Alexa whispered, almost urgently, "Alex, whatever happens, stay calm." But calm was impossible. The mixture of fear, excitement, and vulnerability surged through me. I felt every heartbeat, every trembling nerve, as if my body itself were screaming. The visitor took another step forward, their gaze locked on me, their expression a mixture of awe and disbelief. And then Lena spoke, softly, deliberately, almost like a spell. "You see? It's irreversible. Forever. There's no going back." A chill ran down my spine. My reflection in the mirror, my body, my very identity, it all confirmed her words. The potion had done more than transform me physically. It had claimed me emotionally, psychologically. I was no longer just Alex, no longer just experimenting in secret. I was Lena's twin now, trapped in a dual existence I couldn't escape. The visitor's mouth opened again, but before they could speak, a sudden noise from the kitchen, a crash, a spill, a clatter of glass, diverted everyone's attention. In that split second, I realized how delicate everything had become. One wrong move, one accidental exposure, and my secret life, my new identity, could be revealed to the entire world. I backed away slowly, heart pounding, feeling both exhilarated and terrified. Lena's hand brushed mine again, a reminder of the control she held, the power of the potion, and the reality that I wasn't entirely free. Alexa's eyes were wide with worry, but also determination, a silent promise that she wouldn't abandon me. And then, as the chaos of the kitchen echoed through the house, the doorbell rang again, deliberate, insistent. My pulse skyrocketed. Another visitor, another potential discovery, another moment where everything I had become could unravel. I froze, caught between fear and anticipation. Lena's grin widened, almost as if she were savoring the suspense. Alexa's hand squeezed mine, grounding me, yet I knew the danger was real. My reflection in the mirror, my hybrid, perfect twin self, stared back at me, beautiful, vulnerable, and utterly exposed. And just like that, the story stopped, hanging in the air, unresolved, impossible to predict. The tension, the fear, the thrill of transformation, all suspended in a single heartbeat. Would the visitor see the truth? Would Alexa protect me? Would I remain trapped as Lena's twin forever? Or was there a way back? The answers were unknown. And that uncertainty, sharp, electric, and unrelenting, was the only thing that made the next moment feel inevitable.